Hi, and welcome to another episode of The Taranique Show, where science meets curls and healthy hair is always goals. On the previous episode, I talked about moisturizing gray hair, right? So we're in a series of moisture, and I wanted to address gray hair because as us millennials, we're aging, our hair is also changing, our hair is aging, and we're losing melanin in the hair and it's turning gray. And we just, what do we do? Do we continue our routine, our tried and true routine, stick to the products we've been using forever and ever? And then when we start to turn gray, we notice that, those products aren't working the same, or our hair is more frizzy, more porous, it looks dull and dry or wiry. Why is this happening? And do we need to change up our routine? So on the previous episode, I talked about what you need to do when you are experiencing grays and what you need not to do. So go ahead and check out that episode. But on today's episode, I'm going to talk about, is gray hair caused by aging or by stress? This is something that I have been wondering about for a long time because I have been gray since I was 24 years old. And not like completely gray, but I have been seeing the gray strands just pop up and I'm like, what is this? And why am I having gray hair? So let's get to the bottom of it. Let's discuss, gray hair. Is it from stress or is it from aging? I mean, it seems like a no-brainer, right? Of course, as you get older, you are going to, probably chances are your hair is going to start to turn gray. But what about those younger folks that have gray hair? Like, why is their hair gray? Is it genetics? What is it? So I'm just going to talk about just two causes between aging and stress, right? So aging is definitely the primary cause of graying. As you age, your hair follicles, they produce less melanin, the pigment responsible for your natural hair color, right? So that's just an inevitable process that we all go through. With less melanin, hair grows in gray, silver, or white. So that answers your question there. As you age, your hair follicles just start to produce less melanin. This is a genetic process, meaning when and how much gray you get is mostly inherited. So you can tell how gray you're going to be by your parents or your grandparents. So if you have an 80-year-old grandfather and he is not gray, like mine wasn't gray because he was dyeing his hair, and I am his granddaughter because I am dyeing my hair. I'm going to be 80, 90 years old. My hair is going to be jet black. I am not giving into it. Okay. So anyway, you can tell if you're going to be gray or not by, your parents, your grandparents, like how gray you're going to be. And honestly, I love a salt and pepper man. Like, I love a man with some salt and pepper hair. Anyway, that's for another day. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord and we will dye our hair. But I like looking at a silver fox, okay? A nice salt and pepper head, a hair. It really does. Okay, I'm done. All right, so stress. Stress is a contributing factor. Probably one of the reasons why I was gray, prematurely is stress. At 24, I mean, what do you have to stress about? But me, I was turning gray. Anyway, chronic stress doesn't directly turn hair gray overnight, but it can accelerate the graying process. So stress may affect the stem cells in hair follicles that are responsible for producing pigment. So if you're really stressing out and you are really, your hair is really turning gray, that's why you need to try and relax. Telling somebody that's stressed to relax doesn't usually help them relax. I find that it gets them more stressed. But you understand, if you are becoming more and more gray, and you know who we see this with a lot? We see this with presidents. So you'll see a president go into office and his hair would be brown, black, whatever. And then after he's been in there for 4 years, you'll see him come out with a whole head of white hair. So we can then attribute, that to stress. So do you see how stress does the body? It does the body really, really bad. And then we do think that when we're stressing, it's not affecting our health, But if you just look at the changes in your hair, right? The changes in the structure of your hair, it tells that stress is doing something internally to your body. And I've heard the saying before, stress kills. So this is basically how stress kills from the inside out. So if you find that you're in a stressful situation, the best solution I would say is to get a routine that reduces stress, right? All fun and jokes aside, let's just be serious. Get a regimen together. You want to start exercising, maybe going for walks, walking on the treadmill, doing something fun that you like decompressing, going to the movies, picking up a hobby, something that gets your mind off of the stress and just onto something that will help you to relax. Because if your hair is turning gray because of stress, then you know that other things are happening internally that may be causing your hair to turn gray. So let's limit the stress, let's de-stress, decompress, and try to focus more on the good things and like what's happening good in your life. Okay.